Alright guys, this is W4ARW here, and it's time for our QST review. I know I've been pretty bad with making the videos lately. That's okay, we're going to get back into it, and I'm going to try and start making them, put one video out every Sunday now, hopefully all of this year. So, we'll see how that goes. Now since I fell behind a couple months, I figured I better do a little bit of preliminary work. Don't worry, this shouldn't extend the video at all, because, you know, I missed a couple months of QST. So this is going to be the world's fastest run-through of the QST magazines. Okay, so there you have it. 3 months of QST in 40 seconds or less. Wow. That's just incredible. Not that you got much out of that. Alright, sorry, I really have not, been doing that. But I did make some advancements. I'm on DMR now, so I get one of these little fun Hytera radios. And we're on there. So that's somewhere that you guys might be able to maybe make a QSO with us. We're not overly active, but we definitely turn it on every day. Maybe not every day, but pretty close. Now let's jump into this QST review. As some of you know, if you got the QST, ARRL decided to make some changes, and the cover is one of them. Okay, the actual magazine itself has 10% less pages. For those of you who are really bad with math, which if you're a ham operator you really shouldn't be, but that basically means that if there are 100 pages, now there's only 90. And the size is different. They shrunk the magazine in both width and height, just a hair, maybe half an inch on each side or less. And they also, the only thing I don't like about it is they took away, it used to say devoted entirely to ham radio right there, and now it just says ARRL. I kind of like the old slogan better, but the cover looks cool, so we'll just ignore that part. Alright, let's dive into the review. Alrighty, here we go. We're going to start with the Member Spotlight. So the Member Spotlight this month is Marshall Stieber, AI6MS, and he's a pretty active guy. He got into ham radio listening to his father, who was a private airplane pilot. He listened to him on the air traffic control, and that's how he got interested in radio communications. He also enjoys mentoring, antenna work, stuff like that. He enjoys the more hands-on side of the hobby. He's a VE, and let me find the spot here. I think he's licensed to what, 600? I shouldn't say licensed, but I should say he's passed 600 tests. He's been in that many sessions. I can't find the exact spot where it says that, but it does say it here. So, let's see what else we've got. I hope I can get to some commentary on the change as well. I'll give you my feedback on that. So, up front, I really enjoyed the up front for this month. My magazine's kind of bowed here, hang on. So, this one here up on top, someone took an old, let me get the exact model for you. It was an Apelco 2 MHz AM marine radio, shown here. He took the broken radio, and watch this, ready? Poof! Transformed it into an antenna tuner, which I thought was just awesome. I'm absolutely floored by this. I totally want to try something like that. I thought this was just so cool. Also, this is nice. Let's see. WC30, who I've actually had QSO with, so that's kind of cool. His wife made him this little Ohm Sweet Ohm. Play on words there, hopefully you get that. And then, over on the side here, this is crochet, knitted, let me see. Cross-stitching. Wow, I was wrong. Okay, but it's a cross-stitch of all the color codes for the resistors, so that's pretty cool too. And then this guy here, he's the mobile king of the capitals. He has made QSOs from every state capital, I believe including Alaska, and I know including Hawaii. So he's obviously been busy driving around making contacts there. That's pretty cool. So there's the first two things I wanted to talk about. Next up, we're going to talk about what's actually going to be changing in the QST. Advertisements and stuff like that. And change is coming to QST. Actually, it already has, but they show a picture here of what QST used to look like way back in the day. Let's see, January 1968. So what's that, 50 years ago. And this just talks about the different things they're going to change. I like the idea. I'm on board with the idea. I just kind of wish they would have left the cover the same. So the idea is to, by reducing the magazine size and the amount of pages, they're going to be able to reformat their magazine and kind of make it more user-friendly and more out in the community, if you will. So they're going to get feedback from other hams. They're going to be putting more projects and stuff like that that relates more to the hams out in the average Joe community, if you will. So that's what they're going to plan on doing. Their savings that they're using is going to be going for that, and they're going to try and update their social media platform, put more stuff on there, and they want your feedback. So if you want to give them feedback, please go for it. It doesn't say where exactly you're going to put your feedback, but it says they want it. So do make sure to give them that feedback. So next up is the Pineboard Project. Hey, I've got a net named after this. Woohoo! I always wondered what my net was named for. I actually inherited it from someone. Now I can at least tell myself that I know why. Okay, so this is Bob Heil, K9EID, which I'm sure you guys are all familiar with. And he's talking about how when he was young and getting into ham radio, this is sort of what he was building with. A lot different from what we use today. And he's talking about how maybe going back to this simple design, and things were a lot less complicated back then. Sure, there were more parts and it took a little bit more time, but you learned a lot more. It was more hands-on, and anybody could do it with the right knowledge. It wasn't something you had to train for or spend lots of time learning about. And he goes over how to actually build this project. I'm not going to go into that, but as you can see, the schematics are all there, and he shows you how to build it and what it does. And it takes up a while. Also, he does, of course, advertise Ham Nation. Why not? But let me read this to you. It says you can watch the Ham Nation Pineboard Project video segments online for more information. Each one is about 10 to 15 minutes long, and the video clips, the schematics, the drawings are all on there, and they have been assembled all together at this link. Guess what? I'm going to try to do something new here. Whenever there's a link in here, I'm going to try and put it in the description so you guys can go to it if you're interested. So hopefully I'll have this link where you can go to learn about the Pineboard Project. That should be right down there. Here, let's do this. Right down there for you to get. This was another article. Hopefully none of you guys are looking at it, hoping I'm going to go over it, because I'm not. Sorry about that. By the way, real fast before I get into this one, comment below if you figured out that I changed backgrounds right away, or if it took you a while, or if it took you until I said it. I'm just wondering. Okay, so web-hosted software-defined radios. That's a long title for such a simple concept. This explains everything you need to know, or almost everything you need to know, to get started in listening to yourself on the computer. So when you fire up the radio, and you wonder how you're doing into Maine, the Netherlands, other places where these receivers are set up, you can go onto these websites, sign in, log in, and you can actually control their receivers from your computer, allowing you to see what you sound like from that area. So that's pretty fun. I'm hoping to actually try this today on the recording day. Hopefully maybe this afternoon get on the computer and try this. I haven't done it yet, and I'm definitely excited to see if I can hear myself. The new thing I'm into is Morse code, so I've been doing a lot of CW, and I want to see how well I'm doing. So that's what this is talking about. Here's a basic outline of what that looks like. You have the antennas, usually a long wire, going into several of these RF converters. Now here's why this happens. This happens because if there's one SDR here, one person at a time gets to choose the frequency. If there's a bunch, well, a bunch of people can choose the frequency at a time. So that's the idea of this method. Let me get this centered back up for you. And we're going to talk about what's next here. Joining the FT8 revolution. That's right, man. Uncle Sam needs you. Oh no, I'm sorry, that's World War II. I meant George Washington. Anyway, FT8. it kind of went like this. It went and just rocketed off. I have not done any. I don't have immediate plans to, but it is something I'd like to try in the future. So, talking about everything you need to know pretty much to get started with it. There's been a lot of FT8 articles inside the magazine in the past few months just because it's so popular, but this one's probably my favorite. It walks you through the screens and everything you need to know. If I can find a link in here on how to get started, I'll try and put that in the description as well, just for you guys' information. So everything you need to know. I believe this is written by the editor himself. It's not. It's K3EUI. So I was wrong, but that's okay. There's a couple links in here. I'm going to try and put them there. Also, if you're an ARRL member, you can go on to ARRL.org, log in, go to the digital QST, and every link that's in this magazine in bold is clickable. So that's an advantage of using it on the website. You can actually click all these links that they put in the magazine, and they'll take you right to the page on the computer. I don't do that, but I know that that's actually an option when you do it online, and so you might just try it like that if I can't get the links down there. Also, definitely check out ARRL.org/feedback. I am surprised I haven't mentioned this before. I think about it, but I never really remember when I'm on the spot making the videos. So go back to www.arrl.org/feedback. I'll try and put a link to that as well. You can tell them about which articles you liked, what you liked about them, and like I said, with the new change they made, this is really important to do. Alrighty, hopefully this time you realized I changed background. See, it's this beautiful blue color now. Next article I want to talk about, Troubleshooting HiSWR. This one is the one that's by the editor. Steve Ford wrote this, and I hope he does more because this was a great article. It doesn't break down every step you need to do to tune every antenna, but it talks about troubleshooting where the problem is. Is it your transceiver, your meter, your coax, or the antenna itself? And basically all you need to do this is a dummy load. Screw it into the back of your radio, if your radio has a built-in SWR meter. And if it does, key it up. If it's flat, obviously you know you're good there. If it doesn't, point A, I don't know how well you can see this. Let me zoom in and see if I can get you a better view of this. Okay. Hook dummy load to transceiver if it has a built-in SWR meter, and if SWR is good, move to step B, which is actually point A on the diagram. Hook it into the back of your SWR meter with a short patch cable between the meter and the radio. So now it goes radio, patch cable, meter, dummy load. Key up if SWR is flat, then you're good. Then unscrew the antenna and hook it up, the dummy load, to where the coax is. If the SWR is still flat, then you know the problem is with the antenna. So basically whatever point your SWR goes high at is where your problem is located. So it's simple, but I enjoyed reading the article. Sorry about that, I went the wrong way. So that is that. Product reviews I tend to normally skip over. I don't need to do a review of a review. I'm not really that into it. The doctor is in. This has become my favorite article in the QST. Column in the QST. And I used to like hints and kinks a lot. I haven't seen some good hints and kinks for a couple months. Hopefully that changes. But I don't know if you noticed. I'll show you in just a second though. I did get a little ahead of myself. But I'll show you what I'm talking about in just a second. But doctor is in. What's the difference between RIT and XIT? Now, on radios, sometimes this can be called the clarifier, if your radio is a little bit older. But the way this works is it's a shift in the radio. It's sort of like duplex operation. It doesn't go very far, maybe only 50 kilohertz or so. And basically, if a station is off frequency, instead of catching up to him, and then he changes a little bit because you're drifting, and you guys just slowly walk across the entire band, instead of doing that, you use your RIT, XIT, or clarifier to automatically switch to the frequency you hear him best on when you're not transmitting. So Bob, KD2JSS, asks, what are those used for? And I just explained that. And then John, NN5T, is asking about vertical antenna equations which I'm not going to talk about. It's rather long, as you can tell. But he talks about that, and if you watch my antenna videos, hopefully I'll put some stuff up that explains those equations a little bit more, but they're out of the scope for this QST review. And Ron WD8SBB asking, what is a vector network analyzer and how does it work? Which he goes on to explain. So now we're at hints and hacks, and I'm just going to show you what I was talking about just a moment ago. Alrighty. Hints and hacks. Hopefully you caught that. I don't like it. They like it. They changed it. That's fine. I'm not going to complain. They changed it from hints and kinks to hints and hacks. Their justification was, or their reason was, let me not point fingers that much. Their reason is that kinks in modern terminology is actually a problem, where hacks is actually a creative way of solving a problem. So they changed it to be a little bit more modern. Just a precursor of them changing the style of the magazine. Now, them actually changing the style of the magazine, I don't know if you've noticed, you know, they took out the little profile pictures up here, stuff like that, just small stuff. And they also made it a little bit more flourishy, and I'm trying to find a good example, but in the background of the articles, I'm sure you've seen it while I'm talking, hopefully you have. If not, rewind and check it out. But they kind of added some flourishy swirls in the background of orange and purple and stuff. Kind of makes it a little bit more playful. But the hints and hacks is talking about improving SWR with your vintage gear. So I'm not going to go into that, but talking about if you're running older radios that maybe use different SWR or are just starting to have that age affect the ohms or something like that, how to kind of fix that. And then battery isolators for safe charging. I enjoyed reading this part. It talks about how to properly connect a battery isolator to charge your battery safely from your power supply. Now I'm excited about reading this because what this allows me to do is charge my batteries from my power supply. I didn't even know you could do that. So, learning stuff new all the time. And I'll try. Actually, guys, I just got a new movie editing software yesterday. Well, by the time you see this, it'll be 2 days ago. But I'm going to try and take a picture of this. And there you go. So, that was the idea, to kind of steel frame that and let you guys see how that diagram works out. Microwave lengths I'm not going to go into. I don't do anything with microwave. I don't think most of you guys do. I think a small percent of them do, so I'll just give a small percent of the article. The best antenna you can get on the air. He is a big fan of the horn antenna. Here's a 47 gigahertz version, and here's a 24 gigahertz version. You can see that he's drastically increasing frequency, and the antenna drastically reduces its size for him. So, different types of antennas you can use are log periodic, flat panel antenna, and homebrew copper horn. Those are the 3 best beginner antennas. If there's a link in here, which it looks like there are, a couple links, I'll try and put those in for you microwave wavelength fans. Technical correspondence, I'm not going to go in depth on this, talking about a VNA HF SDR receiver. It doesn't tell you how to build it necessarily, but more like how to configure it. Next article, by the editor. See, I knew there was an FT8 column in here by the editor. I just had to find it. I was behind. Is FT8 a killer app? I hope not. If it's a killer app, I'm not going to be using it. I'd like to stay alive for a little while. Okay, not that killer. When a software application comes along, quoting here, that's highly disruptive to the marketplace, it is commonly referred to as a killer app. By disruptive, I mean that the application is rapidly adopted by a large number of users and quickly displaces most of its potential competitors. JT65, JT9, woohoo! And then FT8 comes along and just poop. So that's the basic idea. So yes, it's a killer app. In killer, it's killing the other apps. Now, people still use these other modes, but FT8 is by far on the highest level. As of right now, anyway. And the download for FT8 is in here in a link. I'll try and put that too. I don't know how many links I have time to put while I'm uploading this, but I'll definitely try and put most of these. Next up is purposing your station for satellite operation. The point of this was to talk about how to polarize, cross-polarize I meant, your antennas. See, if you have a UHF and a VHF beam and you put them together such like this that they're opposite. Let me zoom in again. I know you guys probably hate it when I do that. I do it so sloppy. A, B. 70 centimeters, 2 meters. You link them together so like this, and I don't know if you can tell, that symbol right there is quarter wavelength, and so what it's saying is leave a quarter wavelength spacing in between your elements for the vertical and the horizontal, and that way, I don't know, that's just what's going to link them up right, or cross-polarize them, I guess. So that's that, how to link those together. He also talks about why you need to polarize. Basically, for those of you that don't know why you need to polarize, it's because if you cross-polarize, and by that I mean you're horizontal and the other station's vertical, or vice versa, you're going to have up to 40 dB signal loss, which in FM can be really killer, or in satellite operation too. Also, for your less serious satellite operators, he recommends just putting your beams mounted on the roof straight up, and this gives you, I believe he said 70 degrees of, yeah, here we go. The 2-meter array, which is this one here, is at least 70 degrees wide, and this will cover a large percentage of your operating needs with no rotator required at all. I was quoting there. Next article, jumping pages here. Let me zoom back out. I believe I forgot to do that. Sorry, guys. Amateur radio licensing reviewed in Costa Rica as a comeback to the hurricanes. After legislation endangered operation, regulators and amateurs came together to advocate for licensing, which started again this year. So they had shut down the licensing program there, and they just got it back up and running this year. Said they got a lot of new licensees, and they're hoping to get some more, have several more classes. And apparently most of these classes were in English before, so there was a language barrier, but these new classes are actually in Spanish. So there you go, native language, no language barrier, more licensees. Testing the eclipse's effect on 80-meter WSPR. I'm not even going to go there because WSPR is not my strong subject at all. And here we get a little bit of an interview with a group that went to the Maker Faire and did some stuff. I mean, I blinked out there on what to say, sorry. But happenings, we'll talk about this for a little bit. Our FCC chairman recognizes us, amateur radio operators, in praising those assisting Puerto Rico, so that's cool. And also the American Red Cross is saying that we now have a new partnership with ARRL following the Puerto Rican deployment, which was, I believe, in the December QST. They talked about that. Maybe it's this one further on, but I believe it was the December QST. They talked about that. So that's basically what's going on here. And new chairman, SSTV going high profile. You know, if one of you guys just happen to receive one of these SSTV, let me know. But HARP actually transmitted SSTV signals when they were doing that. Basically what HARP is doing, putting 3,600,000 watts of RF into the atmosphere. I don't know what that's going to do for us, but apparently it's supposed to create an artificial aurora. But yeah, that doesn't sound like fun in my opinion. I'm going to try and speed this up. Looks like I'm about out of battery life. So I don't really do much about the classic radio contest corral. And February 12th, school roundup. I'm going to try and get on for that, so maybe listen for me on 40 meters. How's DX? Basically, just look for the 3Y0Z. Those guys are coming on very shortly, and you definitely want to try and work them. So that's about it. And I'll put a picture on here of the quick stats so you can read those as well. 73s, guys. I'll catch you in the next video, and thanks for watching. I had to keep it a little short because the battery life, sorry about that, but I think I made plenty of video for you guys and you got a lot of information. Like I said, new video every Sunday. So we're going to try and cover a lot of different stuff. Some stuff's going to be for fun and some stuff's going to be educational. So make sure to subscribe and stick around. 73s, God bless, guys.